Hi. Hey, it's Ina the Mood Reader, and today we're going to talk about my February 2021 reading statistics and a mini wrap-up, I guess, of the books I've read. So, in February, I originally planned to read only romances for the entire month, as it is the love month. And I was successful in doing so. I'm very happy to report that I was able to read 14 romance books despite the very busy schedule I had for the month. And I was also successful in doing my original plan for February, which is to feature 10 books on the Goodreads 2020 Best Romance Book category in the last Goodreads Awards. And I was so happy I was able to do that. I was able to read 7 out of 20 books this year, and I also referenced in the video other 3 books I read on the latter part of 2020. So yeah, today we'll be talking about the statistics first, since I've discussed a lot of these books already to you guys. So first, I was able to read of course, like I said, 14 books for February, and those 14 books amounted to 5,089 pages. Yay! That's a little higher than my January reading, so I'm very happy about that. Of course, I don't like separating my computation for the pages versus hours if I listen to it on audio. So I just get the details of the pages from the Goodreads profiles of each book, so I get to arrive at this amount. So yeah, just so we're clear about that. Now, based on the year published, I tried to separate my books in these categories so I can see how much I read the backlist, because I want to also consume books I haven't read before, that were published in the years that I wasn't active on the community, which is 2015 to 2017. But anyway, because I did the video, most of the titles I read were published in 2020. We have 9 books there. I also read 2 books that were published between 2016 to 2019, and 2 books published between 2011 to 2015, and I also read the book that was published in 2009. So yeah, in terms of the genres, of course, I read 14 romance books, but since I'm more of a romance reader, my personal spreadsheet divided romance a bit into different categories, which is paranormal, contemporary, and historical romance. So I read 8 books under contemporary romance, 4 books under historical romance, and 2 books under paranormal romance. And the formats that I used last February is 8 audiobooks, 4 ebooks, and 2 physical books. Yeah, so in terms of the audiences, I leaned towards reading more adults this month, and I read 11 adult books and 3 books marketed to young adult audiences. And yeah, so in terms of author ethnicity, I read 8 books by white authors, 4 books by black authors, and 1 book by Latinx authors. And this is deeply influenced by how white authors are dominant in most Goodreads Choice Awards categories. Will we be able to change that anytime soon? I hope so. Now, last month I was also not able to read any Filipino authored works. I was supposed to read I Love You Since 1892, the second book, but I didn't decide actually, but I was too busy to do it, so I just moved reading the second book this March, as well as reading the third book. Now, because of trying to pick out, because of trying to read the best books in 2020, I was able to discover 7 authors that were new to me, which is amazing. And now we will be diving into the heavier side of this video, wherein we will be talking about the books. So I guess February is a pretty good month because I read 5 5-star books, 5 4-star books, and 4 3-star books, which is a fairly enjoyable one. I'm proud of myself for doing so. And today I will be talking to you about each of those books based on the star ratings, and we'll be starting with the 3 stars or the 5 stars. I'll be starting with the 5-star books. So let's do it. First is You Had Me at Ola by Alexis Daria. It's one of the best books of 2020. It's about this telenovela actors. They were leading a Netflix style telenovela, and one of them, our heroine, Jasmine, wants to be like the ultimate leading lady, and because of that, she doesn't want to be involved anymore with her co-actor. She doesn't want a messy love life because she just got off from a breakup and her face is splashed over the tabloids for being dumped by this musician. And our male lead is a veteran telenovela actor who wants also to like move into mainstream movies and represent Latinx actors more. So yeah, that's that. And because they work together, they also discover this attraction they have with each other, but they also have their inner turmoils, and this would be like the conflict of our story, and I loved it. The book was written very beautifully. If you want to like listen to me talk about it more, I'll be linking down my 10 best romance books video down below. Now, other book that I loved was Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. This is a book about fan fiction. We have 2 fan fiction writers. One is a geologist and one is actually an actor on the show that he wrote fan fiction about. So we also have plus size representation here, very good body positivity representation. And I just love the romance. It's steamy, it's hot, it's very unapologetic about how much it loves fan fiction. And as a person who loves fan fiction, who has read like thousands of fan fiction, I guess 1 million words already on fanfic, I'm so happy that a book like this is published. I loved it. 5 stars, of course. And the other book is Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. This is an romance, and it's charmingly British. It's about this grumpy lawyer and this chaotic NGO employee who is a son of like 2 rock stars in the 70s or 80s that is trying to make his reputation more clean for his father's comeback. And he hires he just finds someone who would play the role of the perfect boyfriend for him. So it has the fake relationship trope, which I love so much, and the banter is just amazing. I really love how this book was written. I recommend 100%. And of course, the other 5-star read I have is Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert, and this is the second book in the Brown Sisters series. This one is about, of course, from Talia Hibbert, we have a smart female lead, empowered at work, but she has commitment issues. And the guy here, our hero, is works in security. He used to be a famous rugby player, but something happened and he can't do that anymore. So they work in the same building. They're kind of work friends. And an incident happened wherein our guy saves Danny and they go viral. So they also do this fake relationship thing, but the lines are blurred. Our hero is like love obsessed. He loves reading romances and he wants to have a love of his own. But of course, our commitment phobe Danny finds it hard to process all of that, to process all of the attraction. So that's what made a good, amazing book to read. So that's another 5-star one. Now, the book that I haven't talked about yet on this list is Crush by Tracy Wolf. I know I recently published a video about CRAVE. I'm also planning to publish a book. To publish a video about this one. And of course, it continues on the story of CRAVE, which ended in a cliffhanger. And on the cliffhanger, we discovered that what's the name of our lead? Grace turned to stone. She became a stone. So she was stuck there. And in this book, we continue on the story of Jackson, the vampire prince, and Grace, who, to save Jackson, was turned into stone. And now on the second book, we continue that when she gets back into reality and she finds it hard to remember what happened all those months that she has missed, and she became and now she has to battle again against the issues in the supernatural world. But at the same time, something would happen between her and Jackson's twin Hudson. I don't want to spoil it much. I think I would just discuss it in the video that I would be doing for people who have already read CRAVE. So basically, this book made a huge plot twist that actually confused many people who were fans of the first book, because it kind of seems like the people we thought are endgame were not endgame, and it opened a love triangle instead. And I know how people have like mixed feelings about love triangles, but I kind of like them. I kind of like seeing the characters hurt. Am I that mean? I just love like angst and drama, especially in love triangles. And this book introduced us to a different character who is adorably British. He has this like bad boy image, and I don't know, even though a part of me tells me that, hey, that's like our kind of antagonist, you shouldn't like this guy, but a part of me really liked him, and I was actually rooting for him in this love triangle. I don't know. I think it's just about those feelings and emotions that I felt while reading this book that ended up with me giving this book 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book compared to the first one. I don't know if it's because I am now more attached to the characters compared on the first time, but I don't know. It's a 5-star read for me. Now we'll be jumping on to the 4-star books. So yeah, the 3 books here that I rated 4 stars actually belong to the same series and were written by the same author. And it's 3 books by Stacy Reid. Stacy Reid is a Black author of historical romance, and she was suggested in like one of the readathons I joined a year ago. And because of that, I took I wanted to read more of her backlist titles because I have only read 1 book of hers last year. And when I saw these audiobook these audiobooks on Script, I decided to take on the challenge and read them because they are fairly short, like ranging from 112 to 250 pages. And it's The Duke's Shotgun Wedding, The Irresistible Miss Pepe, and Sins of a Duke. So The Duke's Shotgun Wedding is about a girl who was promised marriage by the brother of the Duke. She made a commotion and rushed into the house of the Duke and demanding that she be married with his brother because he already promised it to her, and he already kissed her, which is like already a state of being compromised already at that time. But they ended up getting married, and the Duke forming an attraction to her, and their love story. So yeah, basically, I'm sure you got it already from the title of the novella. It's very straightforward as a short book, but I love the attraction and the banter, and I loved how their relationship unfolded despite like the short length of the book. So the second book on that series is The Irresistible Miss Pepe. Well, this one is about the brother of the Duke on that first book. So he discovers an attraction to Miss Pepe, who is an American lady in like society London that doesn't entertain anyone. So he gets attracted to her. He wants to pursue her even though she is not a noble woman. And yeah, the relationship revolves around that. And I think this book just showed how and why he wasn't unable to fulfill his promises to, I think, Jocelyn on the first book, because he was already attracted and smitten with someone else. Now, the third book, Sins of a Duke, is about their sister, whose name starts with the letter C, but I can't remember at the moment. And she, basically, the Duke is a legitimate son, and it turns out that his brother and his sister were basically called bastards because they were sons of his mother, but with a different father. So in the will of the old Duke, he said there that he would not give, like, what do you call it, paman? Like, he will not leave anything for the two other siblings when he dies because they are not his children anyway, and that caused like a scandal throughout the high society. And because of that, the people who used to love and care for our female lead in the third book, who starts with the C, I can remember, they don't care about her anymore. And then on a party, she meets this Duke who has a very, very bad image on the society. He was like not really into the possession. He lived a different life, but because he is a distant relative of some Duke who died, he was like pushed into dukedom, and he has a really notorious reputation. And it turns out she gets attracted to him, but there's something in the past between this Duke and her brother, who's also a Duke, and it's a messy relationship. It's a longer book than the others, but it's because I guess it touches also on the lives of the other siblings mentioned in the earlier books. I don't know, I just love Regency romances. They are so good, and Stacey Reid also writes them very beautifully, so I recommend them. I gave them all 4 stars because I like them, but there were some things that were lacking on each of the books. I'll delve on them on my different reviews coming soon on my blog. And then I also read An Offer from a Gentleman by Julia Quinn. It's a part of the Bridgerton series, and this one is the story of Benedict, who is the second son in the Bridgerton siblings, and this is also the 3rd book of the series. And I was surprised about how this book was written because the Benedict I know from the Netflix show is quite different from the Benedict here in the series. And this book tells the story of Sophie Beckett, and Sophie is a daughter of an earl, if I'm not mistaken, out of wedlock with a household employee. So he actually acknowledges her and treated her with a nice life. He save some money for her. But unfortunately, he died an untimely death, and she would be left with her stepmother, the new wife of the Earl, and some step siblings. So basically, this is just like any other Cinderella story, and in a very Cinderella-y event, she also sneaks out to go to a ball, and she dances with Benedict. They have the time of their lives, and at the end of it all, she didn't say her name, and she did not give anything for Benedict to remember her by. And then after that magical night, Benedict wanted to meet her again, to see her again, but unfortunately he couldn't find her, basically because she was working as a housemaid, because her stepmother wasn't treating her well. Eventually, she wanted to escape that life, and somehow, they meet again. And this is their love story. And yeah, it's a very beautiful one. I loved it a lot. I'm actually debating on whether I would give it 4 stars or 5 stars, because I really enjoyed Benedict's book. Though I didn't like Benedict for the most part, for little parts of it, I found that I usually experience that with many of historical romance books. Sometimes the guys are just so dense and dumb, or like emotionally uneducated, but that was like how men were and still are at sometimes, even in this modern world. So yeah, but I love everything about Sophie, and I love how Julia Quinn wrote their story. So yeah, all in all, I gave it 4 stars. Still debating if I should like bump it up to 5 stars, but I think the difference lies on like how I feel about Benedict on that given day. So yeah, the next book I read is an ARC I got from NetGalley in 2019, and it's Lavender is Not Fine. It's a young adult book. It's very, very, very underrated. So I'm inviting you guys to check the book out. It's available on Amazon, Kindle, and I think in many other bookstores online in our country. I'm not sure. So I recommend checking it out on Kindle and on Amazon. So Lavender is the very cute name of our main character, and her sister escaped, I guess, from their home. She is actually out on college, but she escaped from college and she's nowhere to be found. She dropped out, and that gave troubles in her home and made her mom very sad. So they're experiencing some troubles in the family. Her father is giving her so much responsibility at home, and it's taking a toll on her. There's so much expectations from her, and then she meets this guy who is like becoming like the bright spot in her troublesome life. But as they like develop this relationship and connect to each other, Lavender finds that many people in their school didn't like how that turned out. They didn't like how she is like liked by a popular guy in school. So this book discusses the goods and bads, I guess, of growing up, discovering how family problems would be like, school problems would be like exploring the world of mean girls, mean boys, mean people in high school, and finding comfort in someone, you know, the first love things, jealousy, attraction, confessions, and all that, and finding yourself, how you would stick up for yourself, because at the end of the day, you're all you have. So that's the things that I got from this story, and I actually enjoyed a lot about it, and I think it's very underrated. There's just like 90 ratings on Goodreads, so if you're looking for something different, you should definitely check this out. You should definitely check out Lemon Lavender Is Not Fine by L. Palmore. Now, we are down to the last four books. I rated them all 3 stars. I actually talked about each one of them already in different videos. So, one is One to Watch by Stayman London. It's this plus-size bachelorette book that I didn't like a lot. I liked a few parts, but mostly didn't like, because I was expecting a different way of body positivity than what I got. I recommend you to watch the other video so that you can listen to me, to like my thoughts, my specific thoughts about the book. In 5 Years by Rebecca Sirley, I think what made me give this book 3 stars is that it was marketed as a romance. I was expecting something from the title, from the publishing, from the cover, and I was given a different story. It's a good story, but it wasn't the story that I was looking for, and that kind of affected how I felt while I was reading the book, and even now, after I have read the book. Bitch Read by Emily Henry. This is about 2 authors who have neighboring both houses to each other, and one's a romance writer, one's a literary fiction writer, and they kind of have this past in college, and somehow they decided to exchange genres and write books that they're not familiar with and help each other along the way. Of course, there's a romance, and it's a really nice one. It's a good read. It has its nice parts, but all in all, I think it was just a little okay, so I give it 3 stars. The last book I read in February is CRAVE by Tracy Wolf. I just published a video talking about this one, so I won't talk about it here anymore, but I do recommend, please do watch my random book talk on CRAVE by Tracy Wolf. I guess all I'm gonna say about this book is there are vampires, there are werewolves, dragons. It's kind of marketed as Twilight. It's really marketed as Twilight, but it's not really a Twilight book. So, if you kind of miss Twilight, I guess you should pick it up. But open your doors, open your mind to something different, and just enjoy a random paranormal romance in 2021. So, yeah, those are the books that I have read in February. I tried to make this video as short as I could get, but it still ended up 30 minutes long. I'm sorry, but thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, see you on the next video. Just talk about whatever you like in the comments and we'll discuss. See you on my socials. See you on the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!